Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive, this is Trap or Die.
Let's try it again. Hey, I don't know how this reset, but let's run it back. Welcome back to another episode of Chop It Out Podcast. I'm your host, Mual, in here with nobody. AJ is on the way. Dre is on the way. Appreciate everybody who's checking in live. Shout out to Tim. Because I damn sure didn't know this thing reset. Benz, what's up, player? I see you. I was talking about you for a second, man. I don't know about no football. I know you're talking about Commanders, but look, man, we got college football conference title games. We got a damn good Thursday night football game with the Packers and the Lions. We had a very interesting Browns-Broncos game. We're going to talk about Bo Nix tonight, too. Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. Last night. And I'm super upset at Jameis Winston. I asked him to do one thing, bro. I said, just don't embarrass me. And I thought he had a really good game, threw for just under 500 yards, bro. But he had a pick 6. And then he threw a pick at the goal line. I had the Browns, bro, +6. +6. And there go the points right there. So I woke up. I missed the end of the fourth quarter. I woke up to nothing. Nothing in my bank, nothing in my FanDuel account that indicated that I won the bet. And then we got Sunday football, bro, where there's no stress. Enjoy this week. Enjoy the week. I'm finna love every second of it. And you know, especially this late in the season, man, where you can kick your feet up, bro, and relax. I'm all good for it, bro. But what's up, everybody checking in? Tim, Peace Crave, Disco, what's up, player? Everybody else that's checking in live. Appreciate everybody checking in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. on the YouTube side. Audio, man, if you are listening, make sure you hit that follow button on whichever platform you're listening. Spotify audio, Apple Podcasts, Google, if it still exists. Appreciate y'all checking in on that side. Hit us with a rating and review if you can. It takes 10 seconds to do so, and it's free to show you support that way, man. So we definitely appreciate it. More administrative items. Tomorrow, watch the Commanders morning show. First off, Disco, you can definitely like Myles Garrett. There's nothing wrong with that. I just found it funny because it's like, let's just enjoy the fact that Myles Garrett is a good football player. You said I want him on you said you want him on the team. I would love to have Myles Garrett. That's a long shot. That's not even a half court heave. That's a full court heave right there, brother. That's it. But I was just messing with you anyway. Watch the Commanders morning show tomorrow. We live again 6 a.m. tomorrow. All 32 is going to be live tomorrow 7 p.m. There is no pregame show obviously on Thursday, so there will be no pregame show. We're off that day, but the Commanders morning show Wednesday and Friday 6 a.m. so you can catch your boy there where we will do the film sessions tomorrow morning, and if we get time Friday we will do the film session then as well. So that's actually another thing that we can talk about. I forgot about Cliff Kingsbury because since we've last done the show, his name popped up in some immediate names for the Chicago Bears job. But let's get into my film notes from the game offensively. I think it was pretty straightforward against the Tennessee Titans. Honestly, if you all been noticing the last couple weeks, there's been conversation on Shop or Dive. There's been conversation on Twitter, which I felt like was super toxic because of the 3-game losing streak that it induced, right? Or the 3-game losing streak induced the toxic conversation about the Washington Commanders' decision to hire Cliff Kingsbury and the typical results of Cliff Kingsbury having these slides late in the season as a head coach at that. Arizona, Texas Tech, but never mind his results as an offensive coordinator. That's the first thing. The second thing is there was no such thing as a slide from his side. I think it was clear cut. If you look at the tape, or you didn't have to look at the tape, honestly, but if you just looked at the game objectively, right, and you paid attention to it, you could look at the game copy, you would see how often his players were not executing the way that they should be on certain plays, right? But you will also recognize that when you go up against a talented defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the Philadelphia Eagles, who just dominated in Baltimore. If you see those instances in the defense that they played, also no B-Rob, I think for Philly and for Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry, B-Rob did come back against Baltimore, against Philly, but nothing there in the run game, right? But you didn't have him against Pittsburgh, and I think you ran for under 60 yards that day. You're going to understand that one, your identity is establishing a ground game. Your identity is a run-first football team. That is what Washington is. You weren't able to establish the run. Against Dallas, that was just inexplicably bad, right? You didn't have any good football from none of your offensive players, right? And you get yourself into some trouble. So I think all of these things are player-induced, from execution, from consistency, from being able to establish drives and sustain drives, right? You run into those problems. Against the Tennessee Titans, where you're talking about an offense who was already a top 5, top 6 unit throughout the season, it was really straightforward. Establish the ground game, find ways to make fits for your offensive linemen in terms of blocking angles, being able to get free windows to the second level for your offensive linemen. They were able to do that consistently throughout the day. But more importantly, from a schematic standpoint, that's one thing. The second thing is your players winning one-on-one. Everybody, think about your offensive line. Name them. They won. Think about your tight ends in the run game. They won. Name a wide receiver. They won. Think about your running back. They hit the initial gap, bro, and they were able to make plays on the first level that got them to the second level, oftentimes untouched. You getting 3-4 yards untouched. Those are things that you got to think about. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward for the offensive side of the football in that film session. When you look at people like Brandon Coleman, who was playing really good in the run game, and even in the pass game, Brandon Coleman had a solid day, a really impressive day. You're talking about Nick Allegretti. Nick Allegretti and Sam Cosby with their respective combo blocks, whether it's between center guard or guard tackle. I think one of the biggest things that stood out was the difference that a Cornelius Lucas makes as opposed to a Trent Scott, right? Because last week Trent Scott was at right tackle instead of Cornelius Lucas, where Cornelius Lucas should have been the guy at right tackle to begin with. So I don't know why they didn't do it last week, but they did it this week. And Cornelius Lucas made a difference, right? Like the things that he was able to do in the run game. But I also think Sam Cosmi, who's been kind of up and down this year. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been bad, but he's been inconsistent. He's had some moments where it's like, well, damn, I didn't expect that from you, right? I think Sam Cosmi has been able against the Tennessee Titans. He was able to win his matchups. Jeffrey Simmons, yes. So I've been calling him Justin Simmons. Or I even wrote Justin Simmons in my article. It took a commenter to tell me his name was Jeffrey. But Jeffrey Simmons winning those one-on-ones. T'Vondre Sweat winning those one-on-ones. The center, Tyler Badass, like dominating those one techniques, right? Getting those certain angles right to clear gaps for Brian Robinson. All of those things, like the counters are working to perfection. You had off the counters, working certain angles where your tight end or your wide receiver would be pullers and wrappers into gaps. And while that's normal, that's not like, I'm not saying anything profane about that or profound about that. I'm saying like they're hitting those gaps and they're finding those second level defenders, like they're processing exactly who their targets are and they're finding them and they're executing. Literally every single person that you can think of, every single layer of the offense, from the running back, from the tight ends, from the offensive linemen, right? They contributed to a 260 plus yard day on the ground. And the most important thing about that and the 260 plus yards, but not even just 260 plus yards in the efficient run game, is when you can keep the ground game effective, active, and producing yards. You're talking about an offense who can stay in 2nd and 5 or shorter, 3rd and 3 or shorter, 4th and 1 or shorter, and you're converting. And the defense doesn't have an answer for you. I think all of those things are noticeable when you're talking about the game that they had against the Tennessee Titans. And do not allow anybody to talk about the Tennessee Titans defense and say they ain't shit. Like we talked about that on Sunday. Tennessee Titans defense was a really good defense overall. Tennessee Titans was able to make plays. They didn't force a lot of turnovers, but they was able to make plays in terms of like literally stopping teams and getting them off the field throughout the season. There's been a couple moments like the Buffalo Bills where the Bills could do whatever. And one other team that I'm drawing a blank on the top of my head. But the Commanders whooped their ass. That's what that was. And the Tennessee Titans is still a good defense. So let's not make no mistake about that. And I talk about the run game getting started. That's 90% of it. Everything else is Jaden Daniels. But I'm gonna give the floor to Dre, who just checked in. For those that's listening, Just recapping the final thoughts or closing the book on the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, Maul, and we had talked about last week that this was going to be a test for the Commanders, right? Like, how were they losing the last few, or and on their 3-game losing streak? Washington was getting their asses whipped up front. But as you mentioned, we're going against a really great Titans, or a really good Titans defensive line. They can beat you the same way the other teams have beat the Washington Commanders on defense. And Washington went out there and passed the test. Like you said, they won at every single level. They were winning in the offensive line blocking game. They were winning with the running backs. They were winning with the wide receivers, the tight ends. So this was, to me, a really encouraging game. I know a lot of people try to come at me, oh, it's just the Titans. It's just the Titans. Two things. I was like, first off, I don't care if we played the University of Maryland. We needed a win. And two, the Titans, we're not going to sit here, like you said, Mo, we're not going to act like this is not a good defense. Just because this is a team with a poor record doesn't mean that this isn't a team that has a really good defense. This was a top 2 defense coming into the game. And I haven't even checked the stats, but they're probably top 5 after this game still. That's just how good they were on defense this year. But Washington went in there and won in every single way. I mean, you got to give credit to the coaching staff. They had those guys ready. I'm not sure how they got those guys motivated. I seen my guy Brian Baldinger out here posting videos, and he was saying that this looked like the old Hogs running game. I mean, he was showing the counter trade, how these guards are pulling in the run game, and like you said, the backs are, Brian Robinson had the vision all day. He finally broke one. A lot of people said he couldn't break one. I mean, it's 40 yards, but hey, no one tackled him. He got out there
40 and then he can house it.
Yeah, so I mean, no, this was
60 yarder though.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, he got 40. Yeah. He got the touchdown. Exactly. But no, I mean, again, this was encouraging to me going forward, because this is how we was losing these games. Like, this is what killed us in the Pittsburgh game. This is what killed us in the Dallas game, in the Eagles game. And we got to see those teams again. We see the Cowboys and we see the Eagles again. So we know that this team is capable of winning up front, especially against a good defensive front. I mean, this wasn't, like you said, this wasn't a slouch defense right here. This is a good defensive line, good defensive unit. So now we have evidence that this team can go out there and perform against this type of defense. And we see it again. So we're going to see if these guys can go put it together the next time they go out there against the Eagles and Cowboys. So again, I'm encouraged by what I saw. Again, I don't care if it was the Titans. Context says this was a good win as far as how you won on offense. I mean, sure, their offense is what it is. I mean, our defense wasn't perfect on Sunday, but hey, it was enough to do the job as far as getting a good win. As far as win margin, Washington went out there, took care of business. So going forward, man, I feel confident the next time we see the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yeah, I definitely feel confident, or I feel a little bit better if we play those teams, when we play those two teams again. I don't know if the Eagles one will result in a win, but I also know, like, I feel like Jaden, for whatever reason, you give him a test twice, and sounds like I'm spitballing, but I really do believe this. Given the results of the season so far, you give him a test twice, I don't think he's going to mess up the second time. That's not to say he's going to throw 300 yards on that Eagles defense. That's a tough Eagles defense, and that's not to say like his surrounding cast members, like that offensive line who struggled the first time they played him, won't have issues again. But I think if you can have Jaden on point and really save that offense, which is already a step behind in terms of like matchup on paper, whatever, but you got a shot. But Jaden, that's where I'm getting to. 25 or 30, another efficient day. I think from my standpoint, what I saw watching the game back, there was some I think one of the more subtle moments of the game. This was a drive that led to a missed field goal. But they were backed up deep in their own territory, and they dropped back off play action, and it was a 3-level route where you had a go, a corner, and a check down with your tight end. And I want to say it was a sail concept. Either way, it doesn't matter. It was all to the left side of the field, to the boundary side. And Jaden in this moment was looking from deep to short. And like that one play just highlighted to me. And matter of fact, I can show it. I'll show it again tomorrow morning when we go to our morning show. But I think this just encapsulated everything about, yeah, here it is. Play 29 Q2. All right, let me run this and I'll remove this. So again, you get I think this is first down of the first play of the drive, and you get a 3-level route where you have that check down. You have, I think that's De'Ami Brown, if not Terry McLaurin, running the deep route, and then you got Zach Ertz running that corner route back to the sideline. It ends up going for a 7-yard gain. This is his first down. Ends up going for a 7-yard gain. But you're backed up deep, and I think what this showed me, while again it's only a 7-yard game, it's not a big play. It also showed like where his head was at. He wasn't wasting any time getting to his check downs. You can kind of see from his angle where he's looking at. He's looking at that top safety. You can't see it from here, but that top safety, and he's noticing that they have that covered from that second and third level. And he checks it down. You get 7 yards to Zacchaeus. And I said Brian Robinson. I meant Zacchaeus. But Zacchaeus gets you 7 yards, and now you're in a 2nd and 3 offense that doesn't slow down yet, right? But they just keep moving. I said that play told me, Dre, that one, he was locked in terms of just moving the ball and understanding, where we are as an offense, knowing that Zacchaeus can get you a quick 5 or 6, and you're in a good down the distance. But also, when you think about like throughout the day, he was hitting those curl routes. He was hitting those spot concepts where the receiver or whoever's running like that short like slant hook, like he's hitting those on that first level and getting you a quick 5 or 6. And it's not slowing down the offense. It's not out of the sequence or the flow of the offense. And all those things are essential to just even staying ahead of the sticks. And if they make a big play in terms of your receivers, they ain't yak guys out there. Like you ain't got no yak guy out there. Maybe Terry, if you can get them on a slant, right? But like at the end of the day, if they can make somebody shake and get you like 20 after the catch, like that's even better. But right now, Jaden is doing his job. He's doing it at an efficient level. And he's a top 5 passer in EPA, QBR. Now I don't know what raw is in its full extent. But I'm reading this from an individual who has all his stats out there. And then he's a top 5 quarterback in his PFF grade as well throughout the season. So that kind of shows you he has more passing yards than Josh Allen and Bo Nix. And then for context, last year as a rookie, CJ Stroud, who was a dog-ass rookie, right, finished 15-16 in quarterback rating and EPA. So that just kind of shows you the difference in terms of where he is so far. Even after a mini slump that he had in that, I guess a 2-game slide for him, but the 3-game losing streak.
And look, Mual, so that's why it was so important that they got him kind of started early. I mean, it was some short completions going early, but I kind of like him playing quarterback to, if you're a good quarterback, maybe a great floor general, it's kind of like being an elite scorer in basketball. Like once you see a layup or your first jump shot go down, you get into a rhythm. And I think Jaden, once he got into that rhythm on that first drive with those couple of short passes, he's seen a couple of completions, you're moving the ball downfield. He got into a rhythm, and that's what you like to see. I mean, that play you just showed, that described it perfectly. Like Jaden took exactly what was there. He could have forced the ball to Ertz on that corner route or something, but no, he went through his progressions. He would have had to fit a tight, it would have had to be put in a bucket for Ertz to catch that one pass. But for him to be able to go through his progressions that quickly and hit the check down and get 7 yards, keep the drive going, and you're still in rhythm. So, I mean, you like to see something like that. Kudos to Cliff for, designing a game plan this week to get him ready. And then Jaden, I mean, like you said, I think he self-corrects. Like Dan Quinn and them had mentioned that all offseason. Like Jaden is a self-corrector. And we're seeing that. Like this is something that he probably wasn't hitting in his slump. You know, when he was going through a slump, he wasn't seeing everything well. Again, we can't attribute everything to the injury like some fans wanted to do. I mean, some of it was injury possibly, but a lot of it was just Jaden just probably having just a mini little slump. Maybe he's in his head too much. He's not seeing the field that well. But I think all of those things came to a halt on Sunday. He got into a rhythm. He was hitting guys where he needed to hit them. And I didn't really see too many off throws in the game. And he was very decisive also using his legs in this game. Like that's what really came back. I mean, he kept some on the read options that he should have kept. Like we've been kind of wanting him to do some of these games. And, you know, like, again, he was just more decisive overall in this game as a passer and a runner. So you want to see going forward if Cliff is going to have this same kind of approach to each game, if he's going to try to get Jaden going early with the short stuff, maybe let him see a couple of completions, get his rhythm going, get his mojo going. But either way, this was what you wanted to see this week coming from Jaden. I mean, I think he silenced a lot of people. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get to some Bo Nix Jaden talk. But again, I personally, I just don't think the Rookie of the Year race is that close. But again, I mean, I don't vote, so who knows? Maybe, you know, the media and everybody's buying into the Bo Nix hype and they don't care about analytics numbers and whatnot. But I think Jaden showed on Sunday what he's consistently shown throughout this season. But a lot of people just kind of looked at the mini slump. They got into that too much and they bought into this is bigger than anything he's done this season. But the numbers say different.
I want to get into that Bo Nix thing, and I had this question that popped up in my head on the defensive side of the football that I think is worth discussing, and we'll do that right after we talk about Underdog Fantasy. It is the best place Underdog Fantasy is to play champions. So sign up now and deposit using promo code TRAPPERDIVE to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. This season, Underdog is going to be running a special promo or bonus almost every single day, like profit boost, discounts, and free picks. Free picks, as I always say, is basically a short thing, man. The player just has to get higher than the 0.5 stat, like they're doing NBA right now, right? On this Tuesday. While this is a football show, you know, NBA goes Monday through Monday or Monday through Sunday. Higher than a 0.5 rebound. You know, you can hit that for a certain player. Name your favorite wizard, Dre, right now.
My favorite wizard right now is Bilal Coulibaly, second-year star.
Get him a 0.5 Bilal Coulibaly. 0.5 on the rebound, man. 0.5 on the points, man. And you get that selection to win. And all new users get a free pick, man. I told you, my favorite thing to do throughout the weeks are the red zone rush or the air raid, where you can get the air raid. You just have to select some players to get over 50 yards or 49 and a half, basically 50 yards on the given week. And you can swipe left or swipe right like a tender swipe. See what I'm saying? If you don't think the player is going to get it, hit that left. If you think they're going to get it, hit the right. And so those are my favorite things. Red zone rush, same thing. If you think they're going to score a touchdown, right, excuse me. And if you don't think they're going to score the touchdown, swipe left. Those are one of my favorite things to do on Underdog Fantasy. So again, download the app today and use promo code TRAPPERDIVE to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. I repeat, download the app, promo code TRAPPERDIVE, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. You must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply, void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. If you're in Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783. Or text next step to 53342. If you're in New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-HOPE, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. Okay, so question-wise, I was thinking this, right? So the defense did their thing against Tennessee. Frankie Louvu, a menace. I think he had what? Shoot, I should look at his stats, huh? Anyway, he had a hell of a day.
8 tackles. He had like 3 or 4 batted passes, couple tackles for losses, sack.
He had a hell of a day, bro. Everywhere on the field. Well, they didn't. I don't think they counted the sack for him. Or was
Oh,
that
they
the Dante?
didn't.
Yeah, I think the one where he lost the football, right? Where
Right.
yeah, they didn't count. All right, so we talking about the same one. Yeah, they didn't count it for
Okay.
a sack.
Wow. Okay.
Unfortunately, it should have been a sack. But I think Louvu, and Dante Fowler both have 8.5 sacks this season. But my question that I was thinking about, I felt like Jaden Daniels was pretty obvious, so I thought about the next best player to put into the equation. Who is more important? Now, granted, we didn't lose anybody defensively between Bobby or Frankie or Sanders still, or anybody on the defensive line that we deem important. But who do you think is more important to that side of the football? Brian Robinson or Frankie Louvu? Who's more impactful, I guess?
That's actually a really good question. But I'm gonna go with Frankie Louvu, because Frankie Louvu has been kind of a game wrecker on defense, and he's kind of set the tone. I mean, he's brought the energy and everything. So to me, like you said, we haven't lost these guys. Well, we haven't lost Frankie Louvu. We've lost Brian Robinson, so we've kind of seen how his importance is to the team. But we haven't lost Frankie Louvu. But I do think that if you were to miss Frankie Louvu for a game, I would be a little concerned about the energy level of the defense, because I just feel like he brings it, man. I mean, those guys kind of rally behind this dude. He's all over the place. Like, we've seen the games with Jeremy Chin has kind of been, all over the place, but that's consistently Frankie Louvu on a game-by-game basis. So when someone else kind of brings that on the defense with them, that's a damn good day for the defense. We've seen that. So, Frankie Louvu, I will actually be really scared to lose, because, I mean, he's pass rushing. He's one of your guys that's attacking in the run game. I mean, he's kind of disrupting things in the past game, because I don't know offhand, because I don't have his stats up right now, but I don't know. He has a lot of batted passes at the line. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can look that up, but I mean, for his position as a linebacker, because he's not like a middle linebacker, like a Bobby Wagner or nothing, like who usually usually gets their hands on the ball a lot. But Frankie Louvu's there. He's making plays. I mean, Frankie Louvu is creating turnovers. He's, knocking the ball out. I mean, he's just doing so much on the defense that I will be really scared to lose. And I'm glad we haven't lost him. Brian Robinson, I mean, it's a great conversation, but the only reason I say he's not more important, just because you do have that Jaden Daniels factor there. Like, if Jaden Daniels is having a perfect game, or a Jaden Daniels type of great game without a Brian Robinson, you can still win that game. But a defense that's not all the way great right now, when you're still missing some pieces talent-wise, I would fear losing Frankie Louvu more than I would fear losing Brian Robinson right now.
Frankie has 5 pass deflections, basically all the batted balls, honestly. And that's under Mike Sanders, who got 9, Ben has 7, and Noah has 6.
So all cornerbacks.
All cornerbacks. And right below him is Jeremy Chin, who has 3. Yeah, man. I think it's Frankie for me too. I didn't consider the other aspect of like Jaden being there, but like I also think like Jaden's success hinges on the ability to run the football well too. So I think about that. It's not to say that you can't have an efficient offense without Brian, but also know like Brian can move in the interior and outside the tackles too, which makes him like a threat to be more versatile, as opposed to like an Austin Eckler who is what they used to have, but he's now on IR. So now you got a Chris Rodriguez and Brian Robinson who can kind of do both things. So that's kind of the difference in that aspect. But Frankie, man, I'm in the same boat, bro. I felt like that question was just popped in my head, because it's like Frankie is like their Micah Parsons. They've said it. You can see it on tape. They move him everywhere around the line of scrimmage. On the off ball role as well. And he can do a lot from coverage to rushing the passer. And he's explosive and quick. So I think that element is what is allowing him to beat those offensive linemen consistently and make plays in the backfield. I think he has, let me double check. Frankie has 9 TFLs, bro. That's second on the team behind Dante Fowler. Like, and he has 12 QB hits. That's the most on the team. Like, he really does this shit, bro.
But Mar, I got a counter question to you, because now that you got my interest peaked now, and I'm sitting here thinking, does the emergence of Chris Rodriguez, because they didn't give this guy a lot of carries earlier in the season. I mean, but you've seen kind of what he can do this last game, and I thought he looked damn good. He's almost in that kind of similar mode as a Brian Robinson, but now now that the coaching staff probably knows what Chris Rodriguez is capable of, and we've kind of seen it, when he gets his opportunities. Do you think that lessens the sting of a Brian Robinson if he can kind of step into the Brian Robinson role when he's out?
I don't think it does, because you don't want Chris taking all that punishment, bro, but also like that much responsibility. I trust B Rob in the role that he's in. I trust B Rob with 20 carries if you got to get him. Chris Rodriguez, bro, with the 13 that he did get, he got majority of those because damn near the game was over. Like they was smoking their ass, bro. If it was a tight game against a better team, he's probably gonna get some carries, but he ain't gonna get like 13, or excuse me, he's not gonna get the carries in the frequency in which he did because he got them late. He's not gonna get them in that much. So he probably gets you like 7, 8. And if the run game is really dominating, sure, you'll probably get a little bit more than 7 or 8. I say that to say I don't think Chris being an uncovered gem for this running game is going to change the way that they view Brian Robinson's role or importance to this offense.
Well, I meant more so from the standpoint if Brian Robinson misses a game now, because in the past they gave those carries to Eckler.
Yeah, but who they got? Because I think about it like this, bro. And I'm glad you brought up Eckler. I was talking to it. I was talking to this with somebody else on their podcast. Who's going to be the receiving back out of the backfield? Who's going to be like that versatile piece? So I don't granted, they don't have that right now anymore. They don't have that out of the backfield at all. Eckler was that guy. Brian Robinson does make plays with his hands, but he's not like the route runner. He wasn't like that type of difference maker that Austin Eckler can be for an offense. So they really don't have anybody, bro. And if Brian Robinson goes out, I'm sure they'll feel comfortable with Chris. But damn, who you got? You gonna have to bring up Wiley or
Kaz Allen.
Kaz, who they converted to running back. Sorry, Jay Tizzy, if you in here, bro. But Kaz Allen is listed as a running back, and that's the only other person that you can think of that runs routes well. Because he has some receiver experience, but he got small hands, so that's gonna be a problem because everybody's gonna be jabbing at the ball. But that's the only other person you can think of, bro. Yeah, I don't know.
And to Will Weber's point, I think that's true about C-Rod using up his practice squad promotions, but he is now on the active roster, so he doesn't have to worry about being promoted for the time being unless Eckler comes back and they want to waive him again.
Okay. All right. So where was we at? I actually lost let me look at my notes. So I got some things that I wanted to get into. I saw in the chat too. I want to make sure I cleared everything first. All right, so yeah, a couple more things, man. Zane Gonzalez is staying on. Dan Quinn said that he has a lot of confidence in Zane. Do you think that it's warranted, or should they be shopping around for additional kickers?
No, I think it's fine. I mean, I know typically when a kicker misses 2 field goals in a game, we get a little bit worried. But I think because the fact that he didn't blow a game in a sense, kind of like the Austin Seibert thing where you got to put this guy on injured reserve now. I don't think they want to give up on Seibert at this moment, but same thing with Zane. Zane didn't blow the game, so you don't think his confidence should be shot too much. They're going to give him another chance. Hopefully that chance isn't like Seibert where he's kind of going out there blowing the game. But I thought that he looked good before this. Before this week, he was perfect on all his field goals. He was perfect on all his extra points. I don't know what happened on the 2 field goals he missed this week, but they apparently have confidence in him. I mean, and Zane has familiarity with Cliff Kingsbury. He was in Arizona when Cliff Kingsbury was the coach. So, they know the guy. Adam Peters, I'm sure, has watched him from afar, being in the NFC West. He, his 49ers teams went against the Cardinals. So they probably see something in Zane. And I also think that Zane does have the better potential than Seibert to kind of hit those 50-plus yard field goals. Where Cyber, every time you had to go beyond 50s, he did something weird with his foot or his leg where he's kicking the damn ground before he's kicking the ball. And that's why you got some of those flat field goals on those 50-yard attempts. Whereas Zane kind of gets more elevation on his kicks. So he lends you that potential. And I don't think they just want to give up on him so easy because he missed 2 field goals, which turned out to be insignificant as far as this game goes. The only significant thing would have been we would have been closer to 50 points, which would have been to my liking, but we weren't.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I mean, give him another chance. It's fine. And it's hard to go out and find another kicker this late in the season that may be even better than this guy. You're probably picking through scraps at this point.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I ain't got too much to add. The misses weren't consequential to the game. And I think that's what ultimately extends grace to Zane. And on top of that, before those 2 misses, he was good for him. Granted, he only had one other game before that, but this week they were only scoring touchdowns. And the 2 field goals that they missed again wasn't consequential. So it's easy for Dan Quinn to say like he has a lot of confidence in him, but also like they see him in practice too. I think that's one of the things that people don't think about. The kickers that was before Seibert who got here, bruh. Like they was some shit in practice. Like they were terrible. So that's another element that we aren't considering if people are really freaking out about the kicker. Dan Quinn sees this guy in practice all the time. So if he was really struggling, then it would be a problem in practice as well. And while Dan isn't going to tell like the reporters that or the media that, his tone wouldn't have been so glowingly of Zane. And Will is 100% right. Like, bruh, that shit was so weird seeing that video of Zane Gonzalez trying to make sure his hair was in the right place before he put his helmet on. If that's some superstition, bruh, like, God bless. Because imagine if the game is on the line, bruh, and you ain't had your helmet on before you stepped onto the field.
He drove me crazy with that, bro. I'm like, put your damn helmet on.
A trip to the Super Bowl, bruh, and he got a...
Do I look good yet?
Oh, my Lord, bruh. Yeah, that was bad. Okay. We good on Zane. All right. So one more before we get into the Bo Nix conversation. Cliff Kingsbury. Tim asked early on, do you think Cliff takes the Bears job if it's offered to him? Do you think he takes it if it's offered to him, but does it matter to you?
I mean, it's hard to say what he would do. I mean, I feel like he probably I think he's comfortable being an offense coordinator. I know I've heard this before in the past in the offseason that he just really wanted to focus on offense. I mean, you've seen the Hard Knocks when he was with the Cardinals. He didn't look like he was interested coaching any other side of the football. And as a head coach, you have to be interested in coaching all angles of the football team. He went into a state of depression after taking a head coaching job with the Cardinals to the point where he moved to Thailand for a year or something like that, or
Yeah.
some months, and then he comes back as a consultant to USC. So, I mean, I guess if I had to guess, no, I don't think he would take it at this moment. Maybe he still has some growing to do. I mean, look at Dan Quinn. I mean, Dan Quinn was a head coach with the Falcons, and he spent 3 years just coaching defense with the Cowboys, and he took his time. And he had a great defense damn near every year up there in Dallas, but he sat back. He learned a couple things. He assessed himself. Maybe Cliff is doing that. Maybe Dan is kind of developing him to that point. Like, man, kind of watch what I do, watch how I move, watch how I direct things. Because mind you, before Cliff took that head coaching job at Arizona, he had never coached in the NFL before. The NFL is a whole different animal. He was in college all his life, and he comes to the NFL and he wants to, run this successful, high-powered offense. But then he realizes, damn, I got to manage all these other personalities as well. So, that could be something that, he was not ready for. And maybe, like I said, he needs a couple of years of learning under an NFL coach. Like a lot of the NFL head coaches that get jobs, they learn in the NFL first, right? Their assistant, their offensive coordinators, their defensive coordinators somewhere. They're learning the NFL game. They're learning NFL players. They're learning how to manage adults. So maybe Cliff needs to do that for a few years before he just takes the first smoking job that comes. He could kind of learn from Ben Johnson. Look at Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has spent 3-4 years with the Lions now with a high-powered offense. He's been having teams calling him every offseason, but Ben Johnson's like, nope. I'm going to take the perfect opportunity for me when that opportunity is ready. So I do think Cliff can look at some of those guys like that before he just, like I said, takes the first hot ticket smoking.
And honestly, bro, like looking back at the situation with Ben, not sorry, let me actually rephrase that because I don't care about the situation that happened. His decision making, to stay with Detroit, bro, like that offense has gotten better every single year that he's been in Detroit, bro. And this year, bro, it looks even better than last year, bro. That's crazy. And I think for him, I never thought that he was lying about like wanting to handle business in Detroit. I did think he was scared in terms of taking the leap, but I do think it was a mixture of him wanting to stay in Detroit because like I don't blame him. Like that team is talented. I think that's ultimately where it's like I don't like if you want to stay there and get your and make shit shake, that's what you got to do. And that's an elite offense right there. And they got all the pieces around Jared Goff from offensive line and skill positions, bro, to make things shake. Yeah, personally, I'll be quick with mine. I don't think he's going to leave. I think he's going to get attention. And the Bears ain't going to be the only spot. But it wouldn't make sense for him to leave Washington after his desire to be OC. Like, why would he leave after 1 year? Would I be mad if he leaves? I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be worried or nothing. I'd be a little disappointed from the standpoint. It's like we had something we could build on. And I think that's just a natural letdown for him to leave. I'd love to see what the succession plan is for Dan Quinn. But I am in the boat of like, you do what you got to do. But for him and my expectation, I don't think he's gonna be a guy that's leaving anytime soon. And anytime soon, meaning after this year, and he may make it through the next season as well.
Yeah, and I was gonna say more. I forgot to answer that part. I would actually be very disappointed if he left, but not disappointed for the standpoint that you're losing Cliff, but more so from the standpoint that you don't want Jaden this young in his career having to learn two different offenses going forward, unless they're going to promote from within. I mean, but who knows if someone?
I do think that is the plan.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe Brian Johnson. You do have
got a lot
candidates.
of people.
yes, you got candidates. Right,
But I do think the offense is going to be slightly different because everybody doesn't subscribe to the same scheme. So I do think like that's going to be different. But I don't like they'd be a fool to hire externally, bro. After the amount of talent they brought in from a coaching standpoint, bro. They got plenty of people in here to elevate. Okay, all right. Hey, let's close it out with Ben or Bo Nix. And Jaden Daniels, bro. I felt like this was interesting because one, the narrative continues about and I even mentioned it to you, bro. Like, first off, I don't know what it is about people in this sensationalism and like this need to be first. Who was it? Chase Daniel? That's the dude
Chase
I was
Daniel.
talking.
Yes,
bro. The dude, I don't know him personally, bro, but he is a clown. He is a clown, bro. And I don't go out on limbs talking about people like that, bro. But like I have seen him and I say that because like initially, like when he first retired and he started doing his own thing before he got picked up by companies, like his film analysis was insightful to the point where it's like I want to listen and see what he has to say. Bruh, he on Fox Sports now, and he feel like he got to say the more, like he has to be first on something, or like he can't be held accountable for his past words. Like the tweet. So for those who don't understand, because I'm talking to Dre, and I feel like I should include the audience here. Bo Nix is just even after his last night's performance against the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football. They're saying is there anybody in the race with Bo Nix? Right, Bleacher Report put a tweet that resembles that type of language, right? And like that's one thing, right? But Chase Daniel is a person who before that tweet, like he said something like a week or two ago, saying that I just want to be I just wanted to be known that I'm championing, or I'm the head of the low, what was it, the
Bo
on the
Nix
low
campaign, the Rookie of the Year campaign.
yeah, the Bo Nix rookie of the year campaign, like on the low type shit. And I'm like, bruh, like first off, I looked up his tweets, because I was like, I know you didn't say this a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't remember. I saw him on the timeline talking about Jaden Daniels, bruh. I was like, I know you didn't say this just a couple weeks ago, bruh. Not even 2 weeks ago was he just saying Jaden Daniels is the rookie of the year, and it's unquestioned, bruh. Like, I could pull his tweets up right now on the stream, and I can show the people exactly how much of a unserious individual that he is, bruh. But it's like, I say that to say, and why I'm really harping in on Chase is like, people are really riding a wave that puts them out there, but also drives a conversation to where like the eyes become like focused on them. If you're really paying attention to the games, Bo Nix is having a good season. Point blank period. He's having a really good rookie season. But at the same time, at what point where was Jaden's lows like throughout the year? Even when he wasn't having good games, he wasn't having terrible games. Like, he had one bad game for sure recently. But outside of that, like, when you consider that an anomaly, like the difference that he made for the offense, but also the efficiency that he's passing with, like, he's having, and we read off the stats, he's having a top 5 passer. Like, it's not categorized by rookies. Like, he's having a top 5 season as a quarterback, as a rookie. And that has been the case throughout the entire season. Bo Nix isn't even in the top 10. He's not even in the top 12. He's not even top 14. He's middle of the pack. And that's really good for a rookie. But guess who's better? And I think for people like that who lives off of sensationalism and want to like be part of the hot takes in the algorithm where their name is out there, and like they don't want to be held accountable for the words that they say, that like, and get caught up in their bullshit, bro. Like, this rant is for motherfuckers like Chase Daniel, bro.
Maul, it's getting sickening because it's like everyone, and they see the success that a Stephen A. Smith has and the Skip Baylesses they have. Now that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants the hot take culture. They want to get on those shows because that's where the money is at. So you're kind of chasing the money, going with the flavor of the month, the next hot take, the next biggest thing. Because like you said, this guy was up there championing Jaden Daniels most of the season as the rookie of the year. Now he comes out, oh man, Bo Nix had a couple of good games. Jaden Daniels struggling. Let me try to be the first on this train here to say Bo Nix. So when all is said and done, everybody gonna look at me and be like, man, that dude said it first when it wasn't popular to say it. And it's bullshit because, like I said, to me it diminishes everything that Jaden's done this season. Just because he had, like I said, a mini little slump. And as you mentioned, one really bad game. Bo Nix had that game. We didn't really talk about it because we just looked at him as a rookie. Bo Nix had a horrible, terrible game against the Jets where I think he had like 60 passing yards in the whole game. Denver scores 10 points in the game. So no one's talking about that, though. Now, Jaden Daniels does something like that. It's the story of the week because no one's used to seeing it. Jaden became so good this season. Jaden did so much so soon this season that people are out here forgetting that he's a damn rookie. I watched Monday Night Football last night. I get home, I'm watching that game. Joe Buck is up here champion with Sean Payton for Coach of the Year, and he's going through his whole thing. Well, I'm not trying to slight Dan Quinn or anything, he has Jaden Daniels, I mean, but
that was so confusing, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, so you acknowledge Jaden Daniels. He has Jaden Daniels, but he said it as if, Jaden's already a superstar, but he didn't mention the fact that Jaden's a rookie. He goes on naming other coaches, and then he gets to Sean Payton's the only guy doing it with a rookie quarterback, the only coach out here doing it with a rookie quarterback. And I'm like, this is crazy, and I guess it's because Bo Nix has his Monday Night Football game late in the season. He's got all eyes on him. He's planning a high-scoring game after having a couple of decent games, yes, or a couple of good games. But then Jaden Daniels people already forgot that this guy went out and threw 4 touchdowns, or he had 4 total touchdowns on Sunday. Like, you still like Bleacher Report comes out with. That's what I'm saying. Bleacher Report comes out with, is anybody in the conversation with Bo Nix? But then, like you said, you look at the analytics and everything, and Bo Nix is not even in the top 20 of most of these metrics. He's the 23rd quarterback in EPA, which measures impact, which measures a quarterback's impact to his team on the field. And he's 23rd. Which again, that's fine for a rookie. You know, he's the best rookie not named Jaden Daniels on that list, on that chart. Jaden Daniels is top 5. He's in the conversation with Lamar Jackson still. He's in that conversation with Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. All of the quarterbacks has been the best quarterbacks in the league for years now. Jaden Daniels is in those charts and in those analytics with those quarterbacks, while Bo Nix has a significant gap 18 miles down the road, you know, from Jaden Daniels sitting at number 23. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, a lot of the casual fans, a lot of the people who just want the hot takes, that wants the entertainment, they're just watching for the recency stuff. They're not looking at the analytics and everything. And that's what kind of scares me when it comes to the voting, because you got to wonder, how is the media going to kind of sway this thing? You know, because you got media outlets out here claiming that Bo Nix is running away with this award, while every metric and every number says differently, and they both have the same record. And on top of that, Denver has a top 10 defense in the NFL. That's probably another reason why Bo Nix's EPA is so far down, because his impact is not as great as Jaden Daniels to his team, because he has a top 10 defense. We had a historically bad defense for 3 weeks to start the season. Our defense is just starting to get on track a bit, but they're not great by any means. We are missing pieces. We acknowledge that we are in the middle of a rebuild right now. But we are accelerating that rebuild because Jaden Daniels is so damn good this season. So it just bothers me that people will slight him and knock and diminish everything he's done just because you got a guy that's, you know, having a couple of hot weeks or a couple of a nice stretch of games where Jaden has kind of consistently done that all season. And then you're also kind of taking a lot away from a guy like Dan Quinn as well, who has this team in a position where no one expected this team to be before the season started. Dan Quinn should be right there at the top of those names when you're talking about coach of the year, just as much as Jaden Daniels is right there at the top of that list for rookie of the year.
Yeah, Dre, I ain't gonna lie to you. Honestly, I think we're just talking to the fans and the public out there, because I don't think anybody in their right mind who's actually making the decision from a voting standpoint is I don't think Bo Nix is winning this at all. But I do think the public needs to wake up. Like, bruh, shut up. Stop talking about Bo Nix and understand what Jaden Daniels is doing. And that's with all due respect to Bo Nix, because again, we didn't even disrespect him as a player. We literally gave him all the props in the world. But understand what Jaden Daniels is doing, and understand that that's far more significant. I'm about to say, I was gonna sound a little bit wild, but the burden that's on his back. I'm still on my P's and Q's, bro. But the burden or the amount of weight that's on his back, Jaden Daniels, to really put this team on his back and push this team and will this team to the playoffs, bro. A team that was projected to have 6 wins this season. You got 8 with 4 left, and you still can find a way to get to 11 dubs. Like, that is the trajectory that people need to realize is a possibility because of Jaden Daniels, bro. Point blank, period. Okay. Are we missing anything, Drake? Are we missing anything?
Did you want to get into Pro Bowl vote and just name out and throw out some of those numbers real quick?
By the way, that was our 2-minute drill. I should have said that. I am very bad at introducing these segments. I'm going to try and be more consistent, but shout out to that conversation. That was our 2-minute drill. They're like, what the fuck is that? We ain't talking about it in a little minute. Yep, 2-minute drill. Shout out to that. Sure, where is the Pro Bowlers? I had them up, and I'm glad you said something. By the way, Jaden Daniels, number 1 QB in the NFC. So keep that in mind. Where's Ben Standings? That's probably the easier one to do. Want to get that list because he had it. He sorted it out pretty well, so I can see who all. All right, fucking, I'm about to just type his name in. But anybody that you can think of in terms of who deserves the Pro Bowl nods are basically among the people that have gotten the Pro Bowl nods. We have. He's done a lot of tweeting today. All right, here we go. NFL released the first batch of Pro Bowl voting top 10 list. Here we go. Jaden Daniels. He is 4th overall at quarterback, but he's the first NFC quarterback in terms of the top 10. So he's the number 1 quarterback in NFC. Terry McLaurin, 4th overall, but he's the 3rd in the NFC. Which tells you, damn, there's okay. But that also shows the same thing with Jaden Daniels, like three AFC quarterbacks before him. Same thing with Terry. You got 3 NFC receivers around him and 1 AFC quarterback. Tyler Biadasz, 9th overall center, 5th center in the NFC. Dante Fowler, 5th overall out of outside linebackers, 3rd overall in the NFC. Looks like he's going to the bowl. Frankie Louvu, 9th overall in the NFL, 4th overall in the NFC. Bobby Wagner, this boy going to the bowl. 4th overall in the NFL, 2nd in the NFC. Jeremy Chin. It's crazy how we had that conversation, bro, with the Panthers, Sheena Quick. She was saying like the state that he was in going into free agency and going into a new team, like he really had to prove himself this year, Brad. And he's 4th in the NFC and Pro Bowl voting. The initial Pro Bowl voting that's been released, 8th overall in the NFL. And then Jeremy Reeves, 9th overall in terms of special teams, 5th in the NFC. So those are your initial 8 for the Washington Commanders. No Trust White.
That was what our obligatory Pro Bowl over the last few years. But no, this is crazy to me, Mo. I mean, just you spouting off those numbers. First off, let me say, Frankie Louvu needs to get higher up on that list. Is he behind Dante Fowler for all outside linebackers? I mean, I'm not mad.
Yeah, he's literally right behind him. They're 3rd and 4th.
So, yeah, I mean, we got to get Frankie Louvu up there, man. He deserves it just as much as Jaden or anybody on this team deserves it at this point. But I'm gonna have to look at the numbers when I get off this show, because this might be the first year in a long time we've had multiple. When I say multiple, I'm not saying 2. But we may have 3, 4, 5 Pro Bowlers this year, and that's unheard of for me as a Washington fan. So no, that's incredible to kind of hear early on. And I might actually watch the Pro Bowl this year. I haven't watched the Pro Bowl since the 90s.
I ain't watched that shit. It's still playing.
I don't know, Mark. Get 5 of them dudes up or 4 or 5 of them dudes in there. I got to support them, especially Jaden, man. You know, Jaden going to be smiling and laughing the whole time, man. I'll watch it just for that.
I mean, it is entertaining. They always, you score a lot of points, and the drama comes in the second half of those flag football games. I think the skill positions, like the stuff in the week of, like those are more entertaining than the actual flag game. Because they always like they got the dodgeball stuff, they got the skill competitions, they got some other things that goes on. I think those are pretty cool and entertaining. The issue is trying to catch it like live as opposed to like the replay. I've been trying to find it and I'll be missing it live. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I always forget it's on.
That's the point. I be forgetting it's on. But okay, yeah, that's cool, bro. Shout out to those guys. And I don't disagree, man. It is good to have them back. And I mean, when your team is winning and you're not like 3-7 having to surge your way to a 7-game win streak to make the playoffs, this is the type of recognition you get when you're good throughout the entire season. So good for these guys. What do you say? You ain't watch Sean in the Pro? Of course I watched Sean in the Pro Bowl.
He probably talking to me because I said I ain't watching since the 90s. No, you know what?
Monty. All right, I see.
My phone was buzzing. I didn't catch it. No, I was not watching that.
You really
game
did? Oh, damn. I seen that on live, bro.
I got my phone started buzzing like, you ain't see Sean Taylor hit? Did you see Sean Taylor hit? And of course, I went caught the highlights, and I was like, oh my god,
bro. And then I seen Mormon get up, bro. He chased after Sean and said he just gave him a damn good play, man.
Yeah, thank you for that.
You shortly lit me up. Hey, bro, that's on. I was like, I ain't gonna lie to you. One of my first reactions, I was like, damn, bro, it's a Pro Bowl. I was like, you ain't had to do all that.
Sean didn't give a shit about that.
Sean ain't care, bro. Sean ain't care. Oh man, and then it's out. Nobody cared. Like when he hit him, they was like, oh, like that's when like they really, that's when that shit really mattered, bro. So it really mattered to them. So they took it serious. Peace Crab, why you keep bringing it up, bro? Not about to cut Big Phil. They're not going to do that. They're not cutting big field, man. And shout out to the guy who replaced him. I forgot his name. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's how he ain't no superstar to me.
Was it Sheldon Day?
Nah, not Sheldon. Sheldon been around when Phil was playing. Sheldon's been playing good ball. I forgot to do
Jalen Holmes.
But probably.
Yeah.
He ain't no superstar to me, bro. Not yet. Big Phil's still the superstar. You know what's funny? Peacecraft said that earlier, bro, and I overlooked it, not intentionally.
He wanted you to see it.
Yeah, he said it. He said it before we got off.
He said, "I'm gonna set a reminder at the beginning and the end of the show for Mual to see this damn show."
Hey, bro, I'm gone, bro. We out of here. Again, like I said, no pregame Thursday. We'll be back on Tuesday, all 32 tomorrow. Commanders morning show tomorrow, 6 a.m. And on Friday morning as well, 6 a.m. Y'all take it easy. Enjoy y'all evening, man. It's tournament basketball, so enjoy the evening. If you're watching them, Golden State come on at 10. It's another game right now with the Knicks. I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. I don't know yet. I ain't watching it, but enjoy it. We out of here.
Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set. Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Die.